right. So we had a real short intro, but welcome to another week of Cowboys Cutting Up. I am Jay Soggs. That is the man Trey. Trey
Command.
Wallace. The man. The man.
I
It
don't know if that's a
skipping.
good thing or a bad thing.
Well, it is a thing, and that's the most important thing. Um, but yeah, here on Cowboys Cutting Up, we got fans, and we'll have guests that'll come on that will definitely have that conversation of what's going on with America's team. And we today we're just gonna really kind of go down and just see where the state of the team is. And the question that we lead off with is based on this past season, the off season, and even the past 27 years, can we call ourselves America's team anymore?
You're asking me right now?
Yeah, what's up, MJ? MJ, man, good to see you.
um, Dude, we're always going to be America's team.
There you
I'm just going to put that out there.
go.
There's a reason why there's a hole in the roof.
Yeah,
God can watch us. I'm
there you
just
go.
being honest. We're just hitting a little stumbling block, I guess you could say. I think God is testing our fanhood, I guess you could say. Um, but I mean, are we still? I mean, yeah, I guess you can say we are because if you really look at it in today's generation, and the more likely the NBA, but NFL is starting to become this way too. It's starting to become since fantasy football league. It's more been like, where's my favorite player going, right?
Yep.
But I think Dallas Cowboys fan base has been true to who they are for so long, and I think that's why we're so arrogant as well. Is because it's been 27 years. We know what we can do. We know what this team is missing, but the guy in charge that we all know needs to step aside will not do it. That's the thing. So I think that we have the most fans. I mean, there's a reason why Jerry. I mean, it's a
Almost $5 billion.
billion dollars worth of team now.
Yep.
I think it's the highest paid franchise right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I still think we're America's team. But I tell you what's coming really close is it was New England when Tom Brady was there.
Sure.
But since he's gone, now there's a lot of Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans. And so I think Dallas has always had that core of the arrogant Cowboy fans. I think we're here to stay. And I think the Cowboys tradition-wise, like, because I became a Dallas Cowboy fan because of my grandma. My dad hates the Cowboys because of my grandma. And I've always loved it, and my cousins. And I'm going to, if I ever have a son, I'm going to implement the Cowboy love. Yeah, they haven't seen any winning, but at the same time, the traditions, the history, the everything – and the love and the hate that we have for this team. I think the Cowboys are truly the only, maybe the Packers, but I think the Cowboys are by far the most historically team left out there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, I'm going to shout out James, big game. He's over there trolling. He should be watching a movie. So watch your movie and stop trolling over here talking about South America's team and, do the 5 or whatever. But I think
Raiders are on that too. I did forget about the Raiders are just like Cowboy fans, but
yeah, exactly. Raiders are just like Cowboys fans, and I think that's the problem. Shout out MJ, good to see you, bro. I guess, but it's such a rabid fan base, and we all believe our team will win every single year except for Detroit. They know they won't, so there's that.
I do like what they're doing, though.
Yeah, Detroit looks. They look like they want to change the culture, and I think that's always a big piece to implement. And kind of talking into that leads into the next point next question of, do we even have the right culture here for the team to excel?
Again, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. By culture, I mean, let's just be honest. When Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys, his brief history lesson, we sucked. We were like, what, 1-15 with Troy? Then we get the Miami coach, Miami University coach, Jimmy Johnson.
There you go.
Turned this franchise around, won 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah. The third one's his.
Third one's it. I'm counting the Barry Switzer one. That was all Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
And Jerry Jones is just yet to be enlightened, I guess you could say. He just doesn't want to give up the GM role for God. I don't care. Give it to your son. Give it to somebody. Give it to Will McClay. Give it to somebody, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still make the decisions. We've seen owners make veto trades before. We've seen owners do that, like still be involved.
Right.
But you need another person in there doing the GM while you run the business. You've done a great job of running the business. Now we just need the general manager, which is Jerry Jones. We need him to step aside. And all this talk about him becoming wiser when he's becoming closer to 80 and closer to death. I know that's horrible to say, but he wants to win another Super Bowl. Well, if he wants to win another Super Bowl, he needs to look himself in the mirror like, okay, 27 years. Oh, it's me. That's the only thing staying in the way. Like the coaches have changed. Players have changed. And who's been the one general manager through all of this is Jerry Jones.
It's Jerry Jones.
So the culture has not changed. And he keeps hiring yes men ever since Jimmy Johnson, and that's what we got in right now. And all these people talking about we're going to get Sean Payton. Sean Payton's not a yes man. I'm sorry, he's not. And I think that's what's going to derail Sean Payton if he even comes here. But yeah, no, the culture hasn't changed. It's never going to change until Jerry Jones steps aside as general manager. That's the case it's always going to be.
Yeah, and you know, I see what you're doing. Big game, we culture is prominent. Whatever, you know, it's. That's a whole nother thing, you know, whole nother subject to really kind of talk about. But, you know, when we start talking about the culture, you know, something, again, you intimated and brought up about Jerry Jones stepping aside, letting his son run the team as far as the GM. You know, he's vice president of football operations. So, in essence, he's in the room. He's giving thought and giving his opinion. I don't know if he's the right person to be the GM. I think everyone, I won't say everyone, the vast majority would agree that Will McClay would probably be a better selection for the GM position because he's able to find the diamonds in the rough, and that's really where we are. You know, it's kind of odd because we'll have like the 24th pick or 27th pick or 17th pick, 18th pick. So it's right there mid-first, which I think is probably one of the hardest places to be as far as picking in a draft because most of your impact players are gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I say impact, but, you know, the big splash guys. And so when you get towards the end of the first round, you know, these should, I think, be starters, but are they truly starters day one? And so we'll keep our eye out, you know, on the linemen that we got in our first round. And we talked about this, jumped a little high to get some of the players that we probably could have gotten in their proper valuation. But maybe that's just being scared that they're not going to be there and missing on the man that you want, the guy that you want.
Well, I've always been because you never know what the other teams are thinking. Like you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know. I mean, just look at last year before we got Michael Parsons, which by far was the best draft pick ever in the history of Dallas Cowboys. I mean, not history, maybe, but in recent years of Dallas Cowboys. But we didn't want him. We traded out of it because we wanted Patrick Surtain and the guy from South Carolina, a cornerback. But they traded up. They got him. They got it. I mean, we didn't get anyone, so we had to trade back with our rival. Right. And Michael Parsons just landed in our lap. Mm-hmm. And for the grace of God that he sat out a whole year, that's the only reason why Michael Parsons dropped to the Dallas Cowboys because no one wanted to take a chance on him because he sat out that year, COVID year.
Right.
So it's the draft. That's why I hate grading draft. Like that's why I just hate doing things like that because Tom Brady was the 166th draft pick.
Yeah.
You have Tony Romo was an undrafted free agent. I mean. Right. So that's why I hate doing this. Just wait and see. Yeah, we might have jumped the gun a little bit, but at the same time, you don't know that's why you always got to go with what's best on your board and who do you rank because you don't know what these other teams are thinking.
True. Hey, and before I forget, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and tackle that bell so you know when we're coming on, okay, because we're going to be more consistent We got to be more consistent.
Hey man,
But
it's June. We took vacations. We were doing things, man.
it's summer, and it's slow, but thank you so much for the people that are watching and subscribing. Absolutely love the love, so we appreciate that for sure. Now, remind me, Trey, you were talking about the last piece that you were talking about, right, in the draft, and not knowing where these players will, end up at the end of their career. Is it too early to evaluate Dak's progression in career? Is it too early to say he's, I won't say great or a bust, but, is it too early for that?
We're on the verge of it, right? Like 2018 has been 4 years. Because usually when rookie, he's already got his mega deal. So now we got to start. He's a veteran, and all we hear from him is Dak Prescott. He's leading the team. He was injury prone 2 years, or not injury prone. He got a big injury 2 years ago. So this year was kind of like he started off the gates really hot.
Sure.
But then the second half, it kind of got to him a little bit. He was afraid to run. I think this is the year where you're going to have to, they put it all on Dak. Like, all right, you're picking to pay the big money. You're going to have to step up. You're going to have to be a top 7 to 3 quarterback in this league because Dallas didn't improve on offense. Let's just be straight up honest with ourselves. Yeah. It's like Dak, this is your team. Dak slimmed down because he wants to be more of a runner. I just think that this is the year that Dak, we're going to have to start evaluating him this year and see if it was a true great franchise pick or a mediocre pick, whatever the case may be. But I think he gets a bye because of that injury because he was having an MVP 3 weeks until he got injured, and and he came back from it. And that was it usually takes about 2 years from an injury like that to get. I mean, just like a torn ACL. It takes about a year to get comfortable with yourself and everything. Right. So we're going to see. But I think this is a year because this is going to be a 6th year.
Yeah,
6 years. So Russell. Look at the quarterbacks. Russell Wilson won within his first 4 years. Granted, it was most beast mode in that defense, but he showed up whenever time was needed. Yeah. He took his team to the Super Bowl. Eventually led that team to a Super Bowl. Eventually lost to New England Patriots. Took his team to the championship games. So that was before his 5th or 6th year. He was on 3rd. Ben Roethlisberger took his team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
didn't take it for Jerome Bettis, but he did get Tom Brady first year. So it's either put up or shut up time for Dak, and I hate saying that. And I'm going to say it right now, Cowboy Nation, you're probably going to hate me. I just don't think he's the guy. I don't.
And I don't hate you for that. According to Pro Football Focus, Kellen Moore's offense is actually rated one of the least, what they say, unique offenses in the league. One of the least. So this is supposed to be the wonder kid. But we're noticing this guy is not able to innovate, or maybe it's something that his hands are tied. But all we know is that the plays look the same week in, week out. People know what they're doing. And
hasn't that always been the case with Dallas Cowboys offenses since Tony Romo? Like, we always knew what was like. I remember watching games with my cousin, like, oh, they're going to run on this play. Oh, they're going to be Jeff Sweet. Like, it's always been that way.
Right.
Even with Jason Garrett.
Yeah, situational play calling. And more, it comes from the same ilk of Jason Garrett. Excuse me. That's who he trained under as a backup. And so, before McCarthy, he's that carryover. So what he knows is what he has learned from Boise State and Red Ryder, the Red Clapper. So, at some point, either he decides to innovate, which I don't think he can, given the state of where they are and where they've been, or you just get a new guy. But, and I think we asked this last time, is a Super Bowl a bust for this whole team, especially the coaches?
I don't think it's Super Bowl or bust. I think it's NFC Championship or bust. I
Mm.
think they at least got to make it to the NFC Championship game. If you look around the NFC, there's no excuses anymore. Gronkowski retired from Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay lost a lot of their weapons on offense and defense. Tom Brady, I know he's 45. He's been doing it forever, but at some point, mother or father time's going to catch up to the Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers lost his best wide receiver. He doesn't have a top-notch wide receiver, and he's also getting older in the tooth. Russell Wilson's no longer in it. The only good quarterback, and I think I might even put Dak Prescott ahead of him, is Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford, yeah, he won a Super Bowl, but at the same time,
so did Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I forgot who that 49er guy was, that defensive, but if he intercepts that ball in the NFC Championship game, it's over. I mean, Matthew Stafford is not a Super Bowl champion. Right. I mean, he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. The NFC is wide open for the Dallas Cowboys. At least make it to the champ. I mean, do we really trust Jalen Hurts? Yeah, the Eagles got better at wide receiver, but Jalen Hurts cannot throw a ball to save his life. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah. I love Jalen Hurts. I love everything he stands for, but I just don't think he's a great quarterback. He's a great running quarterback, and that run game is going to be phenomenal next year because they have the best offensive line. I did say that. Eagles do have the best offensive line in the NFC right now, and that's no question about that. But I think it's NFC, just because we haven't been there in 27 years, NFC Championship. I think that's what it is. I don't think anyone, maybe us delusional Cowboy fans, like the diehard Cowboy fans, think it's Super Bowl. But how do you expect this team to go to a Super Bowl when they didn't improve at all in the offseason? They let their number one wide receiver go. People are like, oh, CeeDee Lamb can do it. There's a reason why CeeDee Lamb was open a lot of times, because Amari Cooper was double teamed. Michael Gallup is a long threat. There's a reason. Now you take away. Now CeeDee Lamb's going to see all those coverages. Michael Gallup, we don't know what he's going to come back to after that ACL tear. I mean, that at Cooper Kupp, it took about 2 years before he even had that great year. He was 2 years removed after the ACL tear. It's going to take a while for him to get adjusted. Is Vasher going to be? He's coming off a gruesome injury. He hasn't even played it down in the NFL. They talk about Tony Pollard going to the slot. I can see that. I like that a lot too. But at the same time, a lot of shoulders going to be on CeeDee Lamb. It's put up or shut up time for the Dallas Cowboys and Mike McCarthy, and especially Dak Prescott, because us Dallas Cowboys fans, we hear this every year. This is the best I've ever felt in my life. I don't have any injuries. I don't do this. I don't do that. Like, then they only have one mini camp practice. One. But then we come to find out, because he broke some rules, right?
Yeah, he broke rules. I was about to say, he's a rule breaker. He's an habitual line stepper, that McCarthy, when it comes to stuff like that. But, when it comes to standing up to Jerry, I need him to also be an habitual line stepper and say, you know what, Jerry, this isn't working. This isn't working. This isn't the way this team can operate and win. On paper, when you look at every single position, on paper, it's a great team. On paper. But when you put them on the field together, it's a totally different story. Or at least that's the product that's put out there. So yeah, I'm very curious about Schultz and what's going to go on with that. I think there's some rumbling around his contract, or franchise tag, or whatever.
Well, if you're Dalton Schultz, you need to shut up about your contract, because you're getting paid $10 million this year for you probably should. I mean, that's another guy when Amari Cooper left. That's another guy that's going to be getting some more coverages inside as well.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a great for a franchise tag. I like how he's back at camp. Mm-hmm. But dude, you got to show out this year to get that contract. I'm sorry, it has to be. You have to show out this year to prove that you weren't a fluke.
Right, and I think that's the other thing. As Cowboy fans, we get into the mode of, and especially at our age, we know what it was like to win a Super Bowls, like in our generation. And so for us to see it 27 years, like that's a whole nother generation that has never seen the Cowboys succeed. And so,
let's put it this way. My sister's 27 years old. She's never seen a Cowboys championship game.
And that's crazy because, again, talent-wise, on paper, great players. Great things were supposed to happen. And they've had, some legendary coaches, some past their prime, some not so much. Barry was past his prime. Very past his prime, but was lucky that Jimmy had his team already there. instead of one can argue Bill Parcells may have been past his prime when he came to Dallas. And
I think that's another, like, he couldn't handle Jerry Jones. Like, he couldn't handle the yes man part. Like, no, he wanted to do it his certain way. And I guarantee Tony Romo went to a playoff and should have won a playoff with the first watch snap and whatever. That team, Bill Parcells' team was up and coming until the fallout from Jerry Jones.
Right. So again, it's the frustrating piece of
the Dave Campo era. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I mean, we've had the coaches here, Wannstedt, for a very brief moment. I mean, like, we've had coaches here, and we've had players, great players. We use them up, and we toss them aside, and but there's nothing to show for it. And I think that's the most difficult part when it comes to being a fan of the Cowboys is you see the potential, even as a fan, but nothing comes of it. Make sure that you guys and ladies are commenting. We love to read your comments, tell you you're wrong. Every now and again they get right, especially you, MJ. But you're a Raiders fan, so I expect that. But you can always put them in there, and we'll bring them up, and we'll talk about them because we love to hear what your opinions are. But, we'll kind of digress. And as far as the Dak comparison or even the Dak question, is it too early to deem him either great, good, or a bust? Or not as, and I won't even say a bust, but not as elite as one may believe he is.
Well, you got to remember, this guy was a 4th-round draft pick, right? Like, he wasn't thought out. Like, he was actually 3rd on the roster behind Tony Romo until he had a great preseason. Right. That's the reason and let's just be honest, he rode Zeke's coat in the offensive line coattail and stuff. I mean, that's it. Let's be straight up honest with ourselves. But, I mean, with all intents and purposes, he's not going to be a buzz because where he was drafted and he was not highly thought of. That might have had to do some with the DWI that he got right after college as well. Right. I mean, he's learned from his mistakes and everything like that. I mean, whatever. But he's not going to – like, this is the year – he's going to have an MVP year from week 1 to week 18.
Right.
Instead of this, he gets hot in the second half, or he gets hot in the first half and he slows down, and just like last year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's finally fully healthy. He's slimmed down. There's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
This is it. There's no more excuses for Dak Prescott. And I'm tired of these Cowboy fans always making excuses for Dak. I love his leadership. I love this. I love that. Well, sometimes he's got to contribute to the field, and it has not consistently done that. And this is the year he's going to have to consistently do that, being the MVP top. I'm not saying he has to win MVP, but he has to be in the conversation of top 3, top 4.
That's a word.
I mean, how many years have we heard, like, you go on Twitter, Dallas Cowboy Twitter, Dak Prescott's having a hell of a season. And then all of a sudden it slides off. You know what I mean?
Statistically, he's the top 5 quarterback in the league. Look at what he's done. At this point, he's comparable to, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and these guys. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Those guys at that point, yes, they had different owners. Yes, they had different GMs. But they were able to really put it together for the team and make the throws, make the decisions. And that, again, goes back to is he able to make the decisions on the line, the pre-reads, and from the pre-reads, can he change a play? Last, of course, we always talk about the ending play where he gets the ball, gives it to the center instead of the lineman, head linesman, to hike the ball. It almost comes back to, does he understand this, rules of the game?
Well, okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because there was another, I forgot who was playing, but they did the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. But the line judge didn't touch the ball. It was the backfield judge who was closer to the ball, set the ball, and then they ran the play. If you go back and look at that, Dallas was lined up. They were waiting the back. The judge was way far, like 25 yards back. in
Yes.
the second, that's where I kind of, it's risky doing the 14 seconds, but at the same time, I'm not making excuses. I still think they shouldn't have done that, whatever the case may be. But at the same time, I just think that Cowboys did get a little hosed, but not as much as people are making it out to be. Because remember, we still have 1 second left. You still got to go 35 yards or whatever the case.
Yeah. And I mean, the reality is, I mean, who knows if they would have been able to connect, run the right play, everything goes the way it's supposed to go. It's kind of a crapshoot, like the draft. But I'm now at the point in my years of living and being a Cowboys fan and die hard that the draft is a crapshoot. You don't know who is where. You have these first round draft picks, especially quarterbacks, that they put a crown on them, but they go to usually the worst team, and so they have to suffer through mire and muck. And by the time their rookie contract is up in 4 years, they're beat the crap. The team is no better off, and usually they've either signed a veteran or drafted someone else. So, the development, I think that's the other part of it. Is there true development with these players? I would say so, definitely on the defensive side. But on the offensive side, I just don't think there is. I don't think there's any.
Well, we're going to find out this. Well, we're going to find out this year with CeeDee Lamb coming. I'm giving CeeDee Lamb a little bit of pass because the first year he had no training camp, he had no OTAs, whether it was COVID year. He didn't have time to progress with his quarter. Dak was coming off an injury season as well. So we're going to see with CeeDee Lamb if he makes that big leap forward. And then on the defensive side, we're going to find out with Michael Parsons, right? Like, is he going to have that sophomore slump?
Yeah.
Or is he going to progress to be the all defensive player of the year caliber type player that we all know that he can be? So we're going to see it on both sides of the ball this year. I mean, just be straight up on it.
Man, I think the other part too is when we have those questions, again, it goes to scheme, but it also goes to, coaching, especially in that line. Now, for the defensive side, for Michael Parsons, the key for him to me is that they're now going to key in on him because that's the guy. So let's see how he does with double teams. Let's see how he does when the offense is keying off of him and running away from him or doubling on him or running a rub play, which, yes, is illegal, but it still happens every single game. How does he deal with a bigger tight end who may be physically just better? The tight end position is definitely changed over the years from Jay Novacek to today. But yeah, and to Big Game's point, they don't develop in the NFL. Yeah, they don't develop. I think it's more of, and again, this is me as a fan saying this, but if I see a player come in after that rookie contract, I should see marked improvement in the pro game. But if I see marked, non-improvement, that's not really a word, but, where it disintegrates or degenerates, and look, James, to your point, I think we all hope that he's better. Parsons is a great person to watch. He kind of reminds me of Von Miller, just in stature, speed, tenacity, want for the ball, hunger for, just to get after it in his motor. Absolutely. I would have loved to have seen them both on the team, but I get it. I understand, the money out in Buffalo.
Yeah, how can you turn that money down about with this age too? I'm like, okay, I'm kind of glad the Cowboys didn't need that deal.
And he's got 2 Super Bowls. He'll be enshrined. I have no doubt about it.
Oh, he's already there.
He'll be enshrined, and so Von Miller has nothing else that he will have to prove. Big Game is saying they keyed on him last year. Towards the end, a little bit, but they moved him a lot last year. They moved him a lot, and so I think that's the difference. There is, one one series and one play, he'll be at the outside linebacker. The next one, he'll be a rush in. The next one, he'll be over a B gap or even contain. So I mean, there's a lot of things that they did, and that's a tribute to Dan Quinn and his brilliance. We talk about the secondary of Dallas, but the reality is the secondary was great because they had a rush and because they had Diggs and they had somebody on the other side that could, somewhat hold their own. So you have a ball hawk. Again, I'd still think they need players. A safety.
They always needed a safety. I know we love Jeff Heath, but my God.
Yeah. Let's see what he says here. Big game. They teach the team scheme, but depend on the player's talent. We've talked about that big game. It is about the talent, but you can have so much talent.
Yep. And
you can run around with your head, on fire, but if you don't know who to tackle, I'm coaching a junior flag football team right now, and we just had a scrimmage. They give them the ball, and they're sitting there looking at me. And we hike the ball. The ball is handed off to the running back. The running back looks at me and says, "Son, you got to run to the touchdown." And so, yeah. In fundamentals of, hey, once you get the ball, you run. But if you've never been taught, has talent out the wazoo. But if you're not taught and it's not molded, it's going to continue to be an issue. And I say that for the line as well because they have so many penalties and missed assignments. Dak was sacked 29 times last season. And though that's not the highest, nowhere near it, that belongs to the Cincinnati Bengals, it was always at the most inopportune time. It was at the
Which
worst
got
time.
better, by the way.
Was that?
Which their offensive line got better than, by the way. And ours didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. They made the moves. And so I don't know if Dallas if they're just kind of waiting and they want to do more homegrown, they think they can pick diamonds in the rough. I don't know. That's a tough one. Let me ask you this question, Trey. Do you believe, even though we have a very crowded wide receiver room, that we need to get a veteran in Dallas in the wide receivers core?
Oh, man.
I come with the hard ones, man.
I mean, that's tough. That's tough because we have all the talent in the world. But like I said, Michael Gallup's not. CeeDee Lamb, we don't know what he's going to do as a number one. Who's going to be that voice? CeeDee Lamb's kind of quiet. Who's going to be that voice? I mean, that's where I kind of miss Beasley, whatever his name is.
Beasley.
Yeah, Beasley.
Yeah,
that's where I kind of miss him a little bit in the slot, where we miss we needed a Julian Edelman kind of type.
Right.
I wouldn't say. Could I say wait and see what the first 2 weeks come about because our first two games are no givens by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
And there's a possibility we're going to be 0-2 going into. But as of right, I kind of want to see what CeeDee Lamb, if he can be that. That's what we're all waiting to see, right? I guess we can see it early in preseason too, probably by that second game because I think that's a dress rehearsal game now. Right. I think that we might need. I'm just going to say, yeah. I think we're going to miss that veteran leadership who are they going to turn to? Michael Irvin every week? I mean, for motivation. That's what I'm saying. So, who's going to go get that ball? Who's going to make the tough catches? I'm going to say yes. I mean, because
would you entertain re-signing T.O.? He's playing still.
No. Because T.O., I love him. There's nothing bad. I love his heart. I mean, for God's sake, he played on a broken leg in the Super Bowl.
Right.
He wanted his demeanor, his competitiveness. I love everything about him. At the same time, he does bring a lot of drama, and this is what the Dallas Cowboys team does not. I'm trying to get away from.
Right.
And he's also 47 years old now.
Yeah.
He looks good though. He does look good.
Awesome. I can say he's in the fantasy pick
In a
league.
family. Yeah, the
Yeah,
family. Mm-hmm.
the fan league. So I mean, he's in football shape, full contact. Um, so yeah, I think
I'm just
that's
trying to think of a better wide receiver that's out there that would come. I just
well. I mean, you have people like the likes of Odell Beckham Jr. still out there. Julio
he won't
Jones is
come to
still out
doubt.
there.
Well, see, but he proved this year that he is not a drama. Like he showed
Right,
up whenever he came to the Rams, right?
right.
And he was having he was on verge of becoming the Super Bowl MVP till he got hurt.
Yeah.
At the same time, he's hurt too. So
Mm-hmm.
it's I do like Odell Beckham Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't know. I just don't. I wish we had that Julian Edelman type of guy. That's what I like. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the leader. Like you can tell who the leader is in this group. But this wide receiver group, I just don't see a leader. But maybe CeeDee Lamb will become that. Maybe Michael Gallup will become that. Because
Is it?
those are the only two veterans really on that team.
Well, that's sad. Is it too much to ask CD Lamb at this point to be a leader? I mean, he comes from great pedigree and stock, but
Well, I
is it
think that's
too
what they're
early?
going to see. I think that this year's going to be a lot because we see what in the last couple of years we've seen the quarterback get paid. Then we saw the running backs get paid with Todd Gurley, Zeke Elliott, and all those guys, and we saw that didn't pan out. This year, the wide receiver is getting paid. The CD Lamb's contract is up in a couple of years.
Yeah.
So is he going to take that next lead to get that major big contract? I think that's what we're all waiting to see. I didn't see it at Oklahoma. I saw a lot of Oklahoma games. I didn't see leadership material. I could be wrong on that. Maybe because I'm a Texas guy and I really didn't like CeeDee Lamb at the time. But at the same time,
Right.
I think he can be. I mean, he's going to have to. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's going to, and he's made all the right. Like, remember, they moved their lockers close together so he could.
Right.
So
What do you
he's.
think about that?
It's all
Time to
talk,
stop?
dude.
Yeah.
It's all talk. Like, come on, you tell me you can't go to each other's house and play video games and talk. You can't
Yeah.
go out and eat for dinner. You can't go get ice cream. You can't go to the bar. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's all talk. Like, you move your locker 20 feet closer to Dak Prescott so you can. And Dak Prescott and you cannot just walk to a locker and just talk. I don't. It's just
We
all
can
talk.
communicate better since our lockers.
This is a nonsense coming out of Dallas Cowboys. That's why people hate us because like CeeDee Lamb moved his locker closer to Dak because
Yeah.
he's determined to win a Super Bowl. Like, okay,
Right.
who cares?
Right. So I'm gonna run some names to you, and in the wide receiver position, and just tell me what you think of that. We talked about Julio Jones, 33 years old, right? Still out there. Will Fuller, who's 28.
Yeah,
T.Y.
injury
Hilton,
prone. Injury
Yeah.
prone.
32. Cole Beasley, we just talked about him. He's 33, but I mean, just to come back home.
Yeah,
Emmanuel Sanders is still out there. Again, 35, but he's there. Alan Hearns.
no, we tried that.
Yeah, and yeah. Let's see. We have Deshaun Jackson. We already know that's just a no. Yeah, we already know that. Danny Amendola.
He's old.
He's old, but it's very interesting if we even looked his way.
I like it. I like it. Coming from the Patriots background, showing what winning's about. I could see that. I like that.
Yeah. And again, we're talking culture, and changing that culture. I think Amendola can do that. Even though he's a little older, definitely playing in the slot. CeeDee Lamb moves out.
But we don't need him for 18 games. We need him for like one or two big games, and that's what I like about him. I think he can do that.
Yeah, or even just situational type plays or things like that. So he's not an everyday receiver or every down receiver. But yeah, I think he can definitely contribute. Let's see, Mohamed Sanu. That's a name from basketball.
He's still out there? I thought he retired.
He may have, but according to Sport Track, he's still there. He's still there. And I think once you kind of go further down into this list, it just, it doesn't really garner any like, oh yeah, Demetrius Robertson. Who's it? Trey Turner. It doesn't really garner any. Oh wow, okay, he's still there. Why hasn't he been picked up? Maybe teams are waiting. So, like I said, I think they're trying to get young in the Cowboys. But I don't know if they're going about it the right way.
That they're not. They're not. They're not. I mean, there's like virtually no veteran leadership on it besides Dak and Zeke. And let's just be straight up honest with ourselves. Zeke, this is his last year as a Dallas Cowboy. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
Wow, you think so?
His contract's up. His contract year.
That's true.
And running backs just.
Oh yeah, the value of them have gone down. I believe since DeMarco Murray, they just kind of get devalued.
And then you have Dak Prescott, 6-year quarterback, being your leader. All the rest are young pups. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're trying to get, and I posed this, I think last time, was Dallas isn't looking to win one Super Bowl or to be a team that's good this year. I look to them saying that they're trying to build a dynasty.
They're trying to be New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what they're trying to do, but they have not yet to get to where they need to be. Like the New England Patriots, they took steps forward each and every year, to be honest with you. I mean, they won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. They got the right head coach. Cowboys have not had the right head coach in 27 years.
Ooh, shots.
I mean, but maybe one great head coach that has came from the Dallas Cowboys. Bill Parcells. Sorry.
Yeah.
Bill Parcells.
I don't think he's – I think the game had passed him by.
You're probably right.
I think
he got it there 2 years too late.
Yeah. He's a hey, I'm going to beat you over the head until it's done and done right and done the way I want it. And,
I mean, you didn't get a scar on your helmet or like he didn't call you by your name. He called you by your number.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He's an old school coach. Hey, 22, let's go. Come on, 22. Step it up. Man, that's Emmitt Smith, brother. Do you know who that is? That's 22. Okay. All right. It's things like that players, it gets around and they just don't want to play that hard for them. I think that was kind of part of the issue there, but yeah, it's.
If the Dallas Cowboys want to make a dynasty, they don't need to look in the NFL. They need to look what the NBA, what the Golden State Warriors are doing. And it's going to. That's why I say Dak has to progress this year to be a top 5 quarterback in this league. They have to have CeeDee Lamb progress to be a top 3 wide receiver in this league.
Mm-hmm.
And then to get some winning culture in there, and then you bring the young pups in to say, this is how you win. Just like the Golden State Warriors did. They had the 3 guys around, and they bring in these young pups, and now they're going to be good for many years to come. That's what you need. Football is different, though. But football, like the life expectancy in football is not the same as NBA. Like 32, you're retiring. I mean,
yeah. In 3.5 years, you're done in the NFL. I mean, that's average. So, you get your 4th year. Basically, you play out your rookie contract. And that's it. The elites are the ones that continue to get the big payday. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see after the OTAs are officially done. You have the summer, the break, and then you come back to training camp, and where everybody is and how they're playing. I don't think Dak is the guy.
I don't either. And I love his leadership. I love his promotion. I like how he wants to play through everything, but he just can't make throws. I mean,
and he has a great story. But again,
he's a front runner. He's a front
story.
runner.
It's a story. He is, I believe, a carryover of Tony Romo. And a lot of people hate to say that, but
I still contend if Tony Romo was came back from and played in the playoffs, Dallas would probably be having a Super Bowl ring right now.
Possibly, but
I'm not playing that game. The Cowboys.
Come on, Trey. It's fun. You know it. I know it.
I don't want to be Skip Bayless on the show. I don't want to say stupid things,
I
asinine
got you.
things that he's been
I got you.
saying. But I
Yeah.
truly believe that. I truly believe because Tony Romo literally broke his back for this team,
He did.
carrying him for so many years because he
He
never had
did.
a defense. And I, with the defense that they had, the running game that they had with Zeke Elliott, I I'm sorry, Tony Romo could throw people open. He can read
He could.
defenses. Just listen to him in the broadcast booth. He can read defenses. I mean,
Yes.
he tells you what the play is going to be before. So I truly believe that's the case. But Dak Prescott's going to have to do it this year. I just don't think. Hope he proves me wrong. Hope he proves me and you wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it. I just don't see him progressing in that level of throwing wide receivers open or
Yeah.
making the clutch throw, the deep threat. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we had in the San Francisco 49er game, we had a guy wide open. He underthrew him by 20 yards. I mean, I think it was Cedric Wilson or Turner. I remember who it was. Those are the type of plays. Like, I don't think he has it. I just don't think he has the arm strength to do it.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either. I think it gets to a point where, as a fan, we are waiting with bated breath, and we have to make the decision to say no more.
Is it wrong that I kind of wish that they would have traded for Russell Wilson for Dak Prescott?
I don't think so. I think you're not alone in that either. I think a
I
lot
was
of people,
like,
and you know what? I think, truth be told, they wouldn't have minded if Deshaun Watson came 4 hours up north. I don't.
I truly believe that if he would have, Jerry Jones has so much pull in the league that we've already known what the suspension was. We would
Yes.
already know what was going. I guarantee you, all these
Yep.
settlements have already been paid off by Jerry Jones's own money. I
Absolutely.
guarantee you, everything will already be under the bridge right now. I
Absolutely.
truly believe that.
I think so too. But the fact that he didn't and he pulled the trigger, and I think that was the best thing to do. Let him go ahead and move on and go somewhere else. But yeah, I agree with that sentiment. I think there are people who thought we should have been in the Russell Wilson sweepstakes, and we were not because we did not want to scare that. Excuse me, we didn't want him to feel as though his confidence would be belted, which is kind of weird because it's like, look, we'll trade you. We're going to trade you. We're going to get you out of here. You won't have to compete. You'll be starter day one. But yeah, I think the other part is Jerry doesn't like to be embarrassed. And he doesn't like to be proven wrong. And
Doesn't
so
like being embarrassed. Did you see what's going on in the offseason with him? I mean, come on, how much more embarrassing can it be? He's lucky the Sean Watson thing came up to light because
Right.
because that would have been the lead story anywhere else.
yeah.
With the skirt photos and
Yeah.
the baby, the new daughter that he has.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it would have dominated everywhere and everything. But I think we have to look at what the Cowboys are today and be realistic as fans. And we want to say Super Bowl or bust. Let's just get to your point. Let's get to the NFC Championship.
That's all I ask. I just want an NFC championship. I don't. That's all I ask, and then we can strive from there. But first, this year we got to win the division because it has not been done in 17 years. Has not been done back to back.
As far as back to back, yeah. And to your point, Philly on paper looks good.
They look good everywhere but quarterback to me.
I like what Jalen does. I think he fits
For running purposes, but not throwing.
No, but I think if you approach it with the Tom Brady mentality of the dink and dive kind of deal, where most of the times now he can throw the ball, he can throw the rock, but a lot of his plays were like 5-yard out, 5-yard ins, little slants, things like that, and they just ran it down the field. Amendola made his life like that. Where it's just a little slant inside or a little hitch, and he's gone. So I think they definitely can do that. Get the players involved that need to be the playmakers. They may do something.
Can we finally put the Deebo Samuels thing to bed?
I want to. He's not coming.
He's not.
He's
We're
not
done.
coming.
Cowboys, you're done. Our all season's over. It's this season now. It's
Yeah.
2022.
Every time he's in Dallas, around Dak, around Zeke, everyone is going to have that speculation. And yes, he's disgruntled. I think it's because of Trey Lance and his play. But this is also a contract year for him, and he wants to be paid as a receiver, not a running back. So I think there's a lot that goes into play here. But yeah, he won't be a Cowboy. Not this year. Not this year. All right. Well, look, that's our time today on Cowboys Cutting Up. Trey, it's always a pleasure, brother.
Well, thank you. I was kind of worried. I was like, all right, we're not doing a show. That's cool.
No, look, I got out the hospital for this, man. I got out the hospital for this. We're doing a show.
Hey, at least I didn't cancel to go watch a movie.
Well, I'm not going to hate on. Hey, I'm Jay Stogs. That's Trey Collins. Make sure you check us out on Big Game Sports Buzz on Thursdays, Chop Shop on Tuesdays, of course, Cowboys Cutting Up on Wednesdays, and ASAP All Sports All Plays Network. Trey, what are you doing this week? Or what you got going?
I actually got nothing. I think I'm going to start my own podcast soon.
Awesome.
The radio thing's kind of done till August.
Okay.
Till football season starts up again. I'm sorry. I like baseball, but I can't talk about baseball. I just can't do it for so long. Until playoffs start, till September.
Yeah.
Because when we saw the Atlanta Braves last year, and I told one of my friends who's on another competing network, he's an Atlanta Braves fan. He goes, "Oh, we're done. Trade everybody." I'm like, dude, it's not even the All-Star break yet. Chill out.
Yeah.
What happened? They go on and win. It's just like these delusional Dodger fans. Like, we suck. You're in first place. Shut the hell up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So baseball's too long of a season. Although NBA draft's going to be fun.
NBA draft
is already started.
Yeah.
Already started.
Yeah, NBA draft is coming, so that's going to be great.
Which I got to give a shout out to my wife because she hates sports, but she lets me do this.
Hey,
and
way to go, Miss Trey.
And then for 8 years, she's been letting me watch but she hates after the NBA season's over because the NBA free agency, and I'm on Twitter all the time, ignoring my family.
Because this is when it heats up, man. Right after the last, double zeros in the NBA, it's like, all right, let's go. Because you have that. You've already had the combine. You got the draft. Then you got Summer League that starts up, which should be very interesting this year.
I'm excited.
It's going to be great. And to see what the Mavs do. And I know you're a Spurs guy, so that'll be that. And we'll leave it there.
Well, dude, I'm thinking the Mavericks go back to the
Western Conference,
the Western Conference Championship. I like what they're doing so far in this offseason. Mark Cuban ain't messing around. And they get Miles Turner. If they get him, watch out. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we'll definitely chop it up on the Mavs. I'll have you come on and we'll talk about that on the Mavs show.
Well, please do.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, love each other. Make sure that you take care of each other. And this is Cowboys Cutting Up. And we out.
Say bye.
Bye. That's good stuff. All right, let's get this outro.
You got to hit end live show because we're still on.
I know.
Hi, guys. What's up? Now we're talking.